Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We are completely stripping away the Hollywood tropes, the lumbering green giants and the lightning bolts, to completely reframe Mary Shelley's 1818 masterpiece, Frankenstein. When you actually look at the source material, it's not just a monster story. It is a chillingly relevant psychological warning for our modern world. So we're going to explore some incredibly profound themes here. Human hubris, the absolute terror of abandonment, and how a 19th century novel perfectly mirrors our 21st century anxieties about artificial intelligence. So let's just jump right in with a pretty massive question. Are we creating our own monsters? When we look at the forces we are unleashing into the world today, stuff like unprecedented scientific advancements, automated decision-making, these vast AI networks, you really have to wonder if we're doomed to repeat the exact same mistakes as literature's most infamous creator. To truly understand those mistakes, we have to listen to the creation itself. And this heartbreaking plea instantly plunges us into the emotional depths of the story. The creature says to his creator, "I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather the fallen angel whom thou drivest from joy for no misdeed." I mean, wow, this isn't some mindless beast talking. This is a highly intelligent, articulate being who is actively grappling with the absolute cruelty of being brought into existence only to be instantly discarded. It perfectly sets the stage for the true tragedy of this story. Section 1. The arrogance of playing God. Unchecked ambition without ethical guardrails. Okay, so the absolute core of Victor Frankenstein's character is driven by what we call Promethean hubris. Fun fact, the novel's full title is actually Frankenstein, or the Modern Prometheus. Much like the Greek myth of Prometheus, the guy who stole fire from the gods, Victor is entirely seduced by the power to conquer death and create life from scratch. He completely loses his sense of proportion and just blatantly ignores the ethical boundaries of science. He becomes so single-mindedly obsessed with the glory of being the creator of a brand new species that he completely bypasses any thought about what happens next. Now, what's really wild is that this wasn't just pure fiction. The actual historical anxieties of Shelley's time directly fueled Victor's arrogance. Back then, scientists like Luigi Galvani were experimenting with electricity on animal tissue, a trendy practice called galvanism. You had chemists like Humphrey Davy literally proposing that chemistry was the very basis of life, and that a scientist's job was to modify and control it. So Victor's monstrous creation wasn't born out of thin air. It was deeply, deeply rooted in the very real, very unsettling scientific culture of the early 1800s, where men really felt entitled to play God. But here's the thing. Victor's real crime wasn't actually creating the life. It was prioritizing his obsession with scientific fame way above his responsibilities to other people, and especially to his own creation. He wanted all the glory of being a creator, but absolutely none of the heavy, enduring burdens of being a parent. Essentially, he is literature's ultimate deadbeat dad. The second his creation wakes up, Victor is grossed out by how it looks and literally runs away. He hoards this incredibly dangerous knowledge in secret, totally isolates himself, and puts his own ego way ahead of the safety of society. You can really see this contrast clearly when you look at Victor alongside another character in the book, Captain Robert Walton. In case you didn't know, the entire novel is actually framed through letters written by Walton, who is this ambitious explorer trying to reach the North Pole. Now, Walton and Victor, they are practically soulmates when it comes to intense ambition. But when Walton's ship gets trapped in the ice, he actually exercises some practical wisdom. He listens to his crew, and he abandons his glorious, historic expedition just to save their lives. Walton balances his ambition with care, while Victor literally sacrifices everyone around him for his project. Which brings us to Victor's deathbed warning. It reveals this catastrophic realization that unchecked ambition, when it's totally stripped of compassion and connection, leads to absolute ruin. He finally tells Walton to seek tranquility and avoid ambition, but, it's a little too late for Victor. His failure to balance his scientific drive with any sort of moral compass has already destroyed his entire family. Moving on to Section 2, the trauma of abandonment, the psychological tragedy of the creator's rejection. Think about how a being who was born completely innocent and eager for connection gets so warped by profound social alienation. The creature starts off as a total blank slate. He genuinely wants to do good. He secretly does chores for a poor family, the DeLaceys, just desperately longing for their affection. But because of his grotesque appearance, he's violently rejected by them, by society at large, and most painfully, by Victor himself. That total absence of parental care
creates a massive psychological void, and it's that void that turns a benevolent being into a vengeful murderer targeting Victor's loved ones.
To really grasp this transformation, we have to think about how we view good and evil. Like, is someone born a pure inherent demon, or are they born a blank slate and corrupted by a cruel society? Mary Shelley's creature firmly falls into that second category, mirroring the philosopher Rousseau. He wasn't born evil, he was completely driven to it by horrific mistreatment.
And the creature actually says this outright in a pretty devastating admission. I was benevolent and good. Misery made me a fiend. Yes, he does become a murderer, but he is undeniably a victim first. It shows us that marginalizing and abandoning individuals based on superficial judgments actually creates the exact monsters that society fears.
So, circling back to Victor, his true villainy isn't born of some malicious, mustache-twirling master plan. It's actually a pedestrian kind of evil. It's an evil born of absence. It's his complete failure to step up as a parent and his sheer cowardice when his creation needed him most. It's literally just a guy who wanted to do a cool science experiment in a lab and then sprinted in the other direction the second it got messy.
Section 3. Our Modern Frankenstein, AI, Bridging the 19th Century to 21st Century Fears.
So, bringing this all into the present day, how does a 200-year-old Gothic novel influence science today? Well, it essentially forces us to confront modern bioethics. Right now, we're living through the explosive rise of artificial intelligence and automated decision-making. We are handing over real human expertise to machines, and we're often doing it without the necessary institutional boundaries, ethics committees, or legal guardrails in place. Victor's hubris holds up a perfect, direct mirror to modern tech creators. You know that famous Silicon Valley motto, moving fast and breaking things? That is literally just Promethean hubris with a fresh coat of paint. It's the exact same mindset, relentlessly pushing scientific boundaries, chasing the thrill of innovation and market dominance, but doing it without ever stopping to build the ethical frameworks that protect society from the fallout. The sociologist Bruno Latour totally hit the nail on the head here. He brilliantly pointed out that the true horror in Shelley's novel wasn't the technology or even the creation itself. It was the creator's immediate abdication of responsibility. Frankenstein's crime was that he ran away. So when tech companies unleash these incredibly powerful algorithms or AI onto the public and then just wash their hands of the societal polarization, the bias, or the mental health crises that follow, they are repeating Victor's crime verbatim. So what do we actually do about this? Well, Latour suggests this simple yet kind of radical framework. We must care for our technologies as we do our children. We are being challenged here to apply the patience, the deep commitment, and the moral responsibility of a parent to the AI and scientific advancements we bring into the world. We can't just code them and abandon them to the wild. We have to guide them, correct them, and take ultimate responsibility for their impact on humanity. Which leaves us with a pretty heavy, provocative thought to end on. If Mary Shelley taught us anything, it's that abandoned creations inevitably turn on their negligent creators. So what exactly is our plan today? We are standing on the precipice of a totally new era of intelligence. Ask yourself, what happens when our modern technological monsters wake up and realize we have absolutely no plan to care for them? Are we prepared to guide what we're unleashing, or are we just running away from the laboratory? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.